I want a sandwich. Now. Oh, sandwich wench. Yo, wench. Sandwich. Now. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. Sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. Sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. Oh, sandwich wench. I want a sandwich. Sandwich.
Hello everyone, hope you're all well. We're back after a little hiatus of 2 weeks. Welcome back to another political recap stream here on the Moisky Live channel, and of course if you're listening on Rumble or Spotify, there as well. Did I just get an alert telling me we're live?
Maybe.
I did. Joining me to talk about some stuff is Trups. Say hi, Trups. Perfect.
Hello, Trups.
That spiked the audio on my end beautifully. How is Trups?
I'm all right. Nothing too crazy. You will likely hear my cat at some point.
Which one?
Guinness.
Ah, good.
Since I've been here, he's not yet stopped yelling at me.
That's cat behavior. Get used
yes, to certainly.
What is Trups drinking?
Diet Dr. Pepper.
Ew. It's the diet part that I'm saying ew to. Not
I mean, I understand, but you know,
you're a dainty girl, of course.
Something interesting that I found out actually is people have talked about going to Europe versus like eating in Europe versus eating in America, and changing nothing about their behavior. Their workout routine, their calories that they take in. They have noticed that when they go to America, they will gain weight.
It's the sugars you typically put into a lot of your foods that we don't have.
Correct.
Like, for example, take bread, for example. The Germans are renowned for making bread very well, even if they are German. But there's a lot less sugar in a lot of cases. None at all. We Brits, sugar's a weird one because we do have access to it, but it doesn't feature as much in our diets unless we buy heavily processed foods. It's a weird one. Yeah, I've seen some of those same channels. They do shorts, like someone does a challenge of who does the better McDonald's, the UK or the US, and they go through most of the meals, and they're like, most of it's better in England, but the only thing you're better at is a Big Mac, and I'm like, but a Big Mac is basically just a pile of shit anyway.
I mean, sure, yeah, totally.
So, I mean...
But if you want to know why the diet, it's because avoiding more sugar is wise.
I'll take your word for it. I'm drinking a single malt, literally called Naked.
Well...
Served in a glass with a rugby ball embedded in the side.
You are what you eat.
It has what looks like an American football embedded in the side, but rugby ball in this case. I'll have to send you a picture. It looks awesome.
Okay.
How was your LARP?
What about you? My LARP was
we did that first.
fine and dandy. But nothing too nutty. It was our festival event, which is basically like for the Saturday we don't do much fighting. It's a lot more of like the like festival games kind of thing, you know.
Fun, as opposed to knuckling down.
Yeah. Right, basically. And that happens every May. And then we have like an auction where we get more magic items, which I think is a very fun little thing to do.
Did Trups get anything?
Trups did not get anything because Trups is playing a different character this year, and that character is 4.
F. That's unfortunate, Trups. I hope next year is better for you.
Well, I'll be back to playing my normal character, and that character has money.
Oh, win.
Yes.
All the swag should be yours.
Yes, all of the swag. I totally don't have to beat the old men down the street who hoard money like they're fucking dragons.
The dwarves, then. Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, they're all like they actually like played this game back when it was created like 20 some odd years ago.
Really?
Yeah. So
Cool.
their characters are on the upper echelons of level. So therefore their skills and their abilities are that which far exceed that of a normal person in the game. Thus, they have basically control over everything, but the best thing that they don't have control over is the speed in which you can run.
Oh, right.
They can't do that very good.
That's understandable, given their 20 years of experience.
Yes. At least, probably, let me think. They have to be about 10 to 12 years older than me, at the least, and at the most 20 years older than me.
So, my age, at least.
At least, and at most, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Not much running is happening.
Bitch, I do 20 minutes on a treadmill.
No. I mean running up a mountain. Because we're at a national park. And do it in armor.
Hey, look. I'm built, okay? It's my own armor.
You might be able to do it, but I would sooner see some of the people. Well, maybe I shouldn't make comments. But
yeah, no, they
out of shape. We're all out of shape. They're extra out of shape.
Just call them dad bod.
Yeah, definitely.
Enthusiasts.
Oddly enough, they lack children. But yeah,
that does not surprise me.
Yeah. Well,
no offense.
There are thoughts about that, but we'll move on from there.
It's just what observation.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah. So this event is usually a lot more low key than There's no like world ending events.
Ah.
But what about you? What have you been up to since the 2 weeks that I've been gone?
I've been making videos, working out a lot, and
watching Keffel's downfall.
Yes, I had a day off on Sunday, so I had a migraine all day, so it was a great day off of doing very little in a room that I couldn't make any darker because I have no curtains in my room. I have very little space, and curtains take up space.
Yes, they do.
So I sat in my room and sulked. Waited for payday from Twitch and bought myself a bottle of Lagavulin 11 Caribbean rum cask, the Nick Offerman version, which you know Nick Offerman is. He's Ron Swanson in Parks and Recreations.
I do know.
And he has his own. Every year he releases his own version of Lagavulin, and I was like, well, I'm having that. And I've opened it. A glass of it is in. Well, a glass is poured for tomorrow. I'm going to stream on Twitch, and I'm going to taste that. So I bought that, and I also got a new glass, which is an English whiskey one, with a big dent in the side of it, with a rugby ball plush stuck inside it. Which, if I pull on it, I can actually remove it. Which, yeah, it's glued in. I don't want to remove it. I want to leave it there. It's a plush. It looks cool. But otherwise, I've just been working on videos, and I made a pedal board, which I put on my Discord server in the studio, where someone, people have been sending me guitar pedals, and I decided to put them onto a pedal board and link some of them up. And on Saturday or Sunday this weekend, if I don't get a headache, which I probably will now I've said it, I'll test some of them. Because I've played a few before, but not like this. But yeah, should be able to test that out if I'm all right. And other than that, I've just been working on videos. It's just that. Hello, by the way, to those in the chat, Kai and Becky. Hope you're all well. Do say hello in the chat, of course, so we can, of course, treat you well and haze you.
And while you're here, hit the like button, please. It helps.
Yes, even if you disagree with anything we say today.
I dislike it. I don't care.
I got 2 dislikes on I created I made a not worth a cork channel just to put like some Discord VC stuff on there and some shorts and
Yeah.
all the previous streams basically. I've been doing that over
Uh-huh.
time, uploading it there. And a Glenn Orangi stream got like 400 views, which it didn't get anywhere near that on this channel. And I got some really poorly written essay of text and criticism. And I replied kindly about how rude and obnoxious it was and how I disagree with them. And they ended up writing back a day later, I was hammered as heck, basically. Oh, and I still think you're a sponsored shill. I'm like, I don't have any sponsors. I wish I did.
I was gonna say, you ask that man where you can find sponsors.
Yeah, bitch. If Master and Malt want to give me a free bottle every so often,
Could you
okay,
imagine being sponsored by like booze?
Honestly, I would totally support this.
That money is huge.
Yeah,
Huge.
If they want to sponsor those tiny little streams, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I haven't got that. I've also been playing Pokemon Red still. I've gotten past Misty. I used I grinded to level up a Magikarp to get a Gyarados, and that was a bitch.
Oh, 20?
Yep, it was a bitch. But once I had it, learnt Bite straight away, beat Misty easy.
Yep.
Beyond that, YouTube. How exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm planning my trip to Norwich in July, but yeah, about it really. Hi all, I hope you're well. Hope everyone's well. Hello Misfit as well, or Lisa. Is it you, Lisa, from my server? Have you changed your name? Anyway, where should we start today? Because there's been a lot going on.
Well, let's start with something kind of funny.
Okay.
Because I was driving home and I was listening to MSNBC because I hate myself.
We need to sometimes have that in our background just so we can at least hear the other perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and they were talking about what they consider as a horrific and like tragic realization that they have come up with, and it involves a Supreme Court Justice, Samuel Alito. They have discovered that this man has, in the lead up to the inauguration of Joe Biden, Samuel Alito had an upside down American flag flying in his front yard.
Oh no!
And this has caused the liberal media to lose their shit. And I mean, they're like, "What? This is a symbol of the Stop the Steal movement."
Is that the guy?
And I'm like,
who was telling everyone to please respect Trump as former president? Trump is then calling him Mr. Trump. Is that the guy, or is that someone else?
I don't remember.
It's on our work server. There's a picture of a guy on our server. If you scroll up a little bit, there's a guy. Oh no, that's Senator something Vance. No.
Oh, that's JD Vance.
Tommy Tuberville. Sorry, my apologies. Wrong guy. Yeah. Carry on.
Yeah. No. So
flag though, is that really considered some kind of anti-American? I mean, surely that was an accident.
Well, here's the thing. So, an upside down American flag does have logic. Historically, an upside down flag is a country in crisis. That is what the meaning of that is. And it's also, a military SOS for, that kind of purpose, right? Okay. So, that's the intention behind it.
Okay.
However, there were some people who, on January 6th, were using that during the protest. So,
really? I didn't know that.
So very easily, right, they are looking at that going, yes, that is very clearly a Stop the Steal situation, and the people who are involved in such things, yes, they are, they are bad people. Basically trying to, claim that somehow the intention, which Samuel Alito would be country in crisis, would somehow be not the answer that they're going for. Like, they are saying he's partisan, he's supporting the Stop the Steal people, as opposed to we just had an election in which we have had more controversy surrounding it. We may be in a democratic crisis.
I mean, there's a big enough crisis in your country as it is right now, and it can all be quite easily addressed on something as simple as Biden's Twitter, where he is constantly bragging about what he has done for the country, when everyone is debunking it within seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And the debate thing, which I will admit, I'm sure you saw that video. 15
seconds.
Of
course.
15 seconds. There were 7 jump cuts in it.
Oh yeah. Well, he couldn't form a sentence to save his life.
Well, it's impressive because he's acting all big tough. I've had people in my replies to that say to me that Trump is also equally afraid or something, or wants preconditions. I'm like, bitch, these shouldn't have any conditions beyond what is set by the standard protocol for debates. Like, you turn the fuck up and you two go ham. Obey the rules, obviously, of the platform, but beyond that, you don't get to set any standards. Biden acting like he'd actually do a debate, and I'm sat here like, nah, fam, you ain't going through another. The tweet was, I think he says he beat Trump twice in debates in 2020. What do you think about that? Because we went through this.
No.
I even said that on Twitter. I tweeted that you didn't win those debates. You both look stupid, but you look like a geriatric. And the real irritation is like the Biden Harris HQ Twitter, for example, are talking about how they're constantly on Trump. They're saying, like, in 2020 he said the stock market will crash. Right now the Dow has hit 40,000 for the first time ever in history. However, the percentage change for when Trump took office, when he left, compared to when Biden took office to now, Trump has a greater change of 70% to Biden's 45%. And under Biden's, he's also had massive amounts of cost of living going up, which inflation is not going to help the stock market in the near future. I promise you that.
Correct.
If you think it will, you're actually deluded.
Well, the other thing, in regards to the debates, I genuinely don't think that... I've seen Biden give speeches. I've seen what happens when he gets heckled, like, just by random people, right? He gets very upset. He gets very flustered easily.
Well, he did during the debates with Trump in 2020.
He did. And so I think that if they go down that road, that they are going to have a similar problem with, him getting flustered and then eventually just kind of, I guess, straight up fucking about and losing the debate because he can't. Because you know what he does is when there's actual like hecklers, he does this thing where he'll yell out to the person and say, "Don't jump," as if like that's funny.
I think the thing is, I think he genuinely suffers a form of tunnel vision. So if you interrupt him, like a lot of people, but especially older people, there is and young as well, tunnel vision sets in, and you obsess over the one point you have to make because you've practiced having to say what you need to say. So when someone tries to throw a spanner into it, he can't undo it and speak about that. He wants to say don't jump because he wants to finish the point because he thinks that point drives home something. He is so out of touch. He just doesn't know how to. And when Trump did it to him in 2020, it was. I think
it also shows a lot of contempt for regular people.
Well, he's a career politician. I expect nothing less. Although the 4 years without him anywhere near politics was a blessing for many children's hair. What about that diary? What about that diary doing its round again? Oh my God, that diary.
Oh, you mean the one that Ashley Biden confirmed to, I believe, a court was in fact real?
Oh, yeah.
And the copium from all the leftists saying, well, the diary might be real, but that passage probably isn't real or something.
Was the word molest? I can't remember.
No, it was something along the lines of like I took a shower with my dad. I don't know, like
That's a
something
video
about
game. That's completely different.
it's a big yikes, is what it is.
I'll see if I can find it. The US woman who stole the passage was received a month in prison for selling the writings. Oh dear.
Now, of course, that the argument isn't that.
I remember somewhat being sexualized with Caroline. I remember having sex with friends at a young age. Showering with dad, probably not appropriate. Being turned on when I wasn't supposed to be.
Oh no, that's even worse. That's even worse than I remember.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah.
Yeah, that's worse than I remembered it was.
Yep, that's. I'll
hate that.
I'm not keeping that on my computer.
Nope.
Oh dear, oh dear. This man is the current president.
He is.
You got someone who said, grab him by the pussy, and you got another one that, well, shouted at that kid.
The other thing is, I don't, like, by comparison, though, I think actually doing it, and with your children,
yep.
I think that's a level. That's a level above what he said in that tape.
It's different. I won't be surprised if that doesn't get mentioned or brought up by Trump. But you have to wait a little bit, because you've got to be certain everything is confirmed first. Because if he says it, someone will then run with it and say, defamation. We've got another lawsuit.
I don't think he's going to touch it with a 10-foot pole unless he's pushed to do it.
He has enough lawsuits to deal with right now anyway. Although, he gave a rather interesting speech recently.
Oh?
Well, Trump did, didn't he?
Well, which one?
The one, the gag order has come off. There's never been anything like this in the history of our country. It's a scam. It's in our server. AJ Huber tweeted it. The video. There was Vivek there. Speaker Mike Johnson, Doug Burgum, Byron Donalds, Corey Mills, Eric Trump, and Lara Trump.
I remember mentioning this 2 weeks ago because it was going to happen. And one of my first thoughts about the whole ordeal was that I felt like it was too little too late, I think is what I had said.
Right.
And while I think in the context of Mike Johnson, I stand by that point, but maybe in regards to all the other people, I'm not as upset. That J.D. Vance and Vivek Ramaswamy and folks like that, went out to support him. I don't actually have too much of an issue regarding that kind of stuff. I think that's fair, and I'm happy that they did.
I think Vivek being there makes sense because he's backing Trump anyway, and I think he'll get a place in the cabinet.
I want him to be a VP so badly.
It'd be an interesting one because, he's probably the right guy.
I would say so. I think that we are desperately needing somebody with similar energy.
4 years experience would do him good as well, because then he could run for office afterwards and actually have a better chance.
I think so. Yeah, that would make sense. But I don't necessarily know if it's just going to be effective enough. You know what I mean?
No, I get you. What do you think about the lawsuits? Because obviously we know that there's a bit of a breather, because they gave it to Trump because he wanted to go to his son's graduation. I see congratulations Baron trending on Twitter. I know that's why. Do you think that these are going to start to ease up a little bit now, these trials? Or do you think they're still going to... No? Okay.
No. Though I will say that they're making some grand old mistakes with this trial, and they're starting to realize it. In regards to the actual trial, you have a circumstance right now where the star witness Cohen,
the one that's not really a viable witness.
Yeah.
Because they've lied before.
Yes. In fact, specifically that they are currently dealing with the fact that he is lying, and he just got caught yesterday. I don't know the results of today's. Well, what's today? Friday? Yeah, they were still in session. I don't know what the results of that, but yesterday, he got caught in this huge lie where the first time, allegedly, that Michael Cohen had spoken to Trump about the Stormy Daniels thing was on a phone call, and he recounts the story about how there was like some 14-year-old teenager harassing him about things, basically what sounded like trolling. And then he says that he got onto a phone call with Trump talking about Stormy Daniels. But then we found out that, well, actually, no, it wasn't Trump who he called. It was Keith Schiller, who was, I think he's an attorney. So he actually never actually had that conversation. No, Keith Schiller was American former law enforcement. Oh, he was the service. He was a bodyguard. That was basically who he called about Stormy Daniels. And in front of everybody on, in the courtroom, they're basically like, hey, so that's a lie. And what do you have to say for yourself? And even MSNBC and CNN are looking at this going, uh-oh. We might have a problem. So for whatever reason, the prosecution in regards to this case has decided that they wanted to leave Michael Cohen as the last witness, which is weird because I would probably not want to put my least reliable witness as the last thing that the jury is going to think about.
Yeah.
I get why, because they presented everything in the front so that his commentary can corroborate everything, because he's essentially a linchpin. He's a keystone in all of this. However, if he's a liar, then that doesn't really fucking matter, does it?
Not really, no.
So, unfortunately, we have that also going on. And, we'll have to see where that whole piece ends up going now that Michael Cohen, at least yesterday, was found to be a liar, and it was called out in front of the jury. Woo! Fun. Exciting.
Very exciting, because I love a good lie. But some people are willing to... They used him before. And they used him when they knew he was a liar then, and they do now. And they still use it to drive home points that don't carry much weight, because surely someone who's proven now to be a liar is no longer worthy of the status witness.
Outside of the court case, it actually got even worse, because Michael Cohen's former lawyer, I believe his name is Mr. Costello, testified before Congress yesterday, and basically said, yes, he's lying again.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So we have basically the context was, I asked him if he had anything on Donald Trump way back in the day. And he said no.
Okay.
So that leads one to believe that, well, there's nothing left, right? There is no way that you can get after Donald Trump. Well, now he comes out 4 years later, 2 years, well, after he gets sentenced, really. and now you have something to say. Now you have things on Trump. But what happened when X person was trying to save your ass? Nothing back then, but something now. Weird. Yeah. So that was a lovely bombshell as well that I thought was rather enjoyable.
I guess if they continue to drag the trial out, it'll be quite amusing if they can continue to find a way to try and make him seem like he's a valid part of this. Again, my view is if you have been proven to have lied, you are no longer a valid witness because nothing you can say can be trusted. Therefore, you should be sent back to wherever it is you belong, in his case, prison, and everyone else can get on with the trial with what little information and sort of resources they have left to make this work, which in this case they don't. I might be wrong, though, I don't know.
Well, I don't think you're wrong. I think you are quite correct, in fact.
Yeah. Other victories.
I just think
we do this.
I just think that we're going to have somebody has to be like looking at this and going, "No, there's no way, honest to God, right, that any of this is real. Like that this trial, there can't be an actual juror who's sitting there going, yeah, no, that's fair. I agree.
Yeah.
And I would be a little shocked to find out that there is, in fact.
Yeah. How long is this trial meant to go on for?
Not very long at this point. We only have so once Michael Cohen is done testifying,
right?
Then the defense gets to call their witnesses.
Okay.
And then so that can go on for a little bit of time. I think they're estimating it to be done by late June, early July.
I mean, that's not far away. It's not.
No, it's not.
It's
I mean, they only had 5 6 prosecutorial witnesses.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was Stormy. It was the dude from the Inquirer. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot going on, to be honest. I don't know what the defense is planning, though. They haven't really touched on that in the media that I've consumed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Very well.
Yes.
Do we know anything about about these debates happening at all? Or are we still in the stage of posturing?
So yes, allegedly, the debates should happen sometime in June.
Singular or
and
plural?
then September.
Oh, they're actually going with 2?
Yes.
Oh dear. No offense to those who are voting Democrat here, but you guys are pushing a horse that can't finish a sentence. I don't understand why you. I mean, I didn't like the fact that people were toying the idea of not having debates in the first place. But now they're actually possibly happening. I mean, there's still arguments that Trump won't turn up either. But now that this is happening, although I can imagine that they won't let that happen because he's under trial or something, and they'll use that as an excuse to say, "Oh well, Trump didn't turn up. He's a pussy." I'm just not as.
The rules surrounding this are very odd, right?
So what are the rules?
So the rules so far look to be that it's going to be in a studio for a news organization.
Okay.
And no audience, a single moderator.
Oh, fuck off. No audience.
Yeah.
Fuck me. Carry on. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No. That's basically it. It's no audience, single moderator, and it's in a news station.
What is the point?
They need Biden to not be heckled by an audience.
Not be heckled, not be distracted by the shiny bitch. You need an audience in a debate. It's not a debate if you're just doing it into a room with a camera. At that point, you two basically sat on a radio show with Howard Stern.
That's kind of what it sounds like they're getting at. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if fucking Chris Cuomo comes out of the fucking woodwork to do this.
No, well, Chris Cuomo's been doing a lot of stuff on his Twitter to talk about people voting third party to actually make change. I looked at his Twitter the other day, but at this point, I would listen to it or watch it if they did actually do it on Howard Stern's, provided both of them were sat on vibrators, which is what Howard Stern used to do to female guests on his show.
Really?
Yeah, he made Carmen Electra sit on a Sybian once, which is like a horse seat with a vibrator in the middle. It's just a thing that vibrates. Nokia phones, or Nokia, used to have an operating system called Syrian. Yeah? Mm-hmm. I accidentally misspelt that into Google and found out what a Sybian was, because it's just a B and an R change. Yeah, it's just a small ridged object with a vibration on it.
Well,
I'd rather watch.
Glad to know that my opinion of Howard Stern is still he's a scummy.
Oh, he certainly was back then. I don't know if he is now, but I'd rather watch them do debates like that than I would this version, because this is dog shit. Honestly,
I mean,
Earth would anyone?
In terms of excitement, yeah, definitely.
Well, there's sod all going on, really, is there? It's
correct.
So bad. How crap are you that you don't have anything to offer? That your debate is so Spartan. It's embarrassing. Sorry
now, of course, they are trying to also get a what's it called?
It's called your mum.
A VP debate going on too, and that's supposed to be in July. But of course, Trump hasn't chosen his VP. But he says that he's going to announce who he chooses at the RNC convention, which happens in early July, which does not give his person much time at all.
I reckon he's already chose them. And
I bet you that conversation has happened already.
Yeah, I think he's chosen them already, and he's just sat back going, yeah, we're going to wait for a minute. Just hold back for a minute, because this might cause them to sweat a little, you know?
I think so, too. Especially if it is Vivek. Vivek will not need time to be able to debate.
Not to debate her, no. No offense to
no one
Harris.
needs time to fucking debate Kamala
Harris. Harris, I'm sorry. I could write down a few insults on the back of a McDonald's receipt and still beat you with the receipt side. Give it a second, that might work.
Yes, sure. I'm just letting that go.
Basically, I could beat her by simply talking about McDonald's food.
Mm-hmm.
She's not that smart.
She's not. No, she's not.
It's tragic.
Not at all. I mean, it's certainly something. And I think that, honestly, without, previously prepared comments, I think that they will suffer greatly.
I hope so. To be fair, the VP debates were never that interesting to begin with. Her and Pence were just boring. But that's because Pence wasn't willing to pull the trigger.
True.
Too nice. And of course, he's not exactly looked at in a good light anymore. And, in the chat, Lisa mentions, I'd like to see VP Tulsi. I don't think he'll pick Tulsi. I did like her as an option, and to be fair, she could tear Harris apart. But I don't think Tulsi would be chosen, to be honest. But if she is, I'd be impressed.
I don't think so either. Mostly because I think that the biggest issue that they would have is the nature of Tulsi Gabbard to flip-flop a lot on their opinions.
Yeah.
That's not to say that they're not able to be used as a good VP pick. I just think that there's probably more. There's better options. I think Vivek is probably one of the strongest options. I don't think that many other. Like, I would have said Carrie Lake, who was the person who was running for the governorship in Arizona. I would have said them for a while, but I feel like they're too wrapped up in Arizona politics, much like how DeSantis is too wrapped up in fucking whatever the fuck, Florida. So, and then Kristi Noem did a poor job recently after, talking about how they shot a dog.
Oh, yeah.
So, there's that too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's a pretty good option either. So we're gonna have to really, look at what options we've got here, because right now it's looking rather bleak.
I would laugh if it was DeSantis, but I doubt it would happen. I would laugh.
Ain't no way.
I'd laugh even harder if it was Ted Cruz.
Even that, I think, is a far-fetched. Now, some people said, "Oh, what if it's fucking what the fuck's her name? The chick, the one, no, the one who was waiting for a while." Oh God, why can't I remember her name? She still has signs literally fucking everywhere.
Oh, the one who wouldn't pull out.
Yeah, that one. God, why can't I remember her name? Or Nikki Haley.
Thank you.
Suffering. I would be shocked to see if they also ended up being part of that.
Right. I can imagine. Yeah, but I doubt she'd be on the ticket. It's just too far-fetched. Just too far out. And also, never really supported Trump even when she lost. She wasn't really on his side at all. Brian in the chat mentions Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't
think so.
You got more chance of Trump picking Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez than her. And he's not picking her either. Although I think that would be hilarious. That'd be quite a subversion.
Not the worst play in the world, though.
I think it'd be the funniest, though, wouldn't it?
It would definitely be funny, and that's kind of where my brain's at.
So,
okay.
Shall we move on to something else?
Yes, please.
Okay. Right, where is it? Okay. In the Brixham area of the United Kingdom, 22 cases of cryptosporidiosis were confirmed. More than 100 people reported symptoms to their GP last week. Eventually, Southwestern Water located the source, which was a parasite that had entered the water network in the southwest of England. 16,000 homes were served a boiled water notice, because that's the only way to deal with this, and so that people have access to water. This problem, this parasite, is typically caused by drinking contaminated water or swallowing it in swimming pools or streams. A lot of it comes from cleaning water systems, but also what people do with water they have access to. For example, if you have heavy rain, where water typically goes when it goes through your waste, it goes through your sink, or your gutters, it goes to typically sewage treatment works. It's all one system in our country, and it all goes there, and then the wastewater then is cleaned. If there's heavy rain, though, that fails, because obviously our systems have a limitation, and even though we are a country that has over 300 or close to 300 days of rain a year, apparently we can't handle 301. So this has caused a problem, because the number of cases involved has, over the period of a week, exponentially risen. And this is because of some interesting political points. Firstly, the UK, when we joined or were a member of the EU, we had to sell our water to go private because we couldn't afford to keep it up to the standard of the EU at the time. Therefore, it became a privately funded system. The government have claimed that over the years they had plans to improve water quality. This was confirmed in 2023 July anyway, when they said polluters could face unlimited fines. Penalties from water companies, for example, would then be reinvested into a new water restoration fund. Even though these are privately owned, I don't know why the government is having to constantly back them, especially when prices to improve this sewer system and to improve the water quality, which is where a lot of these problems arise, would then cost the customer an additional £156 a year just to then pay the private aspect, so they're getting their low end of their profits. I don't agree with this in the slightest. I do. Of all the public services that went private, water is the one that I believe should be a given in our country. It should not be privately owned at all. A lot of our systems, because we never built to improve them, are still considered, by the standard of the modern age, Victorian. But it is not all about, not just because the governments of old and current failed to improve the systems. Some did erode them. I will concede I did a little research on this. I know Orla had mentioned it to me on Twitch earlier, so I did a little digging. The Conservatives, while saying they want to do something, haven't really done that much. There's actually an additional problem that comes from how people deal with the waste in their home, for example. Things that cause problems when it goes through the systems is an increase in blockages, which in turn leads to increase in, for example, feces finding its way into the roads, which then goes down separate gutters, which then goes to the wrong place. Because people are putting down their toilet things that don't belong there. This is rocket science here. You don't put wipes down there, don't put cloths down there, don't put your fucking sanitary stuff down. This isn't overly complicated, but people do it. There's actually a rise of YouTube channels who actually clean those same drains where these problems arise. And I've seen it, I will admit. Because I can't smell it, it looks fascinating. But I'd rather watch someone clean a carpet than I would watch someone stick a hose down a gutter or down a tube to find where the blockage is, unblock it, and then show us all the sodding wipes that someone's left in there. You have other problems in this country now, though, of people throwing their waste essentially into the street. It's a rising problem, but it's not happening. I've looked at a map which shows hotspots of where this is happening more. In East Anglia, which is just above London to the right, there's not much at all. Where I live in the southeast, it is a literal white zone. The worst affected areas are up and around Manchester, Leeds, Newcastle, Yorkshire, and the southwest. The south, the centre south and the southeast, aren't that bad, but where I am, I promise you, it's entirely white in the southeast, which does whittle it down to 2 constituencies. I'm not even joking, because we're classy bitches. But London isn't that badly affected either, which surprised me a little bit, because London, as many will remember from the old days, it was renowned for throwing all their waste into the Thames. It was renowned for throwing their waste into the streets, because our roads were obviously curved like a speed bump, but long ways. And so everything went into a form of gutter. The government is stuck in this really odd position right now where they're now having to act quickly because Southwestern Water have, they fluffed up and about 16,000 homes are affected here. And when we're entering election season for a problem like this, the current Environment Secretary, the former one, Theresa Coffey, had said there was no way you can stop pollution overnight. So this problem, everyone would expect a solution now, right? But you're not going to get one now because it can't happen so quickly. If they confirm the infection, they obviously can do something eventually. However, to do it would be impossible. So people are going to be affected going forward. But then the government, without people realizing it, this current government had lowered the standards of something quite important. And that was the amount of fecal matter, particles per million, that were permitted to be present in clean water. Now, just to be clear here, there is no such thing as clean water. There is tolerable levels of what have less impurities. There is no such thing as pure water. It really isn't. Okay, there's always something in something Don't try me.
Yes.
Be pedantic if you want. It's not true. All right. But the government had increased this acceptable window of what could be, acceptable. Right. It's like food. There's always something in it that shouldn't be there. Right. Right. We know this. We know the food. There's always something that shouldn't be in food. In fact, I think that includes like organs from animals and things like that. There's always something, a disease. There's always something there.
Right.
And the same applies to water. Now, I don't know why they changed that to make it so relaxed in the first place, rather than maintain the high standard. I would surmise it's because even though now they're privately owned, the companies were able to then continue to afford to pay their stockholders without having to then increase the amount of effort put in to maintain a higher standard, but take it to a level where it was still acceptable for human consumption. Yeah? And
Okay.
Ola, you mentioned the profits. This is why I genuinely do not support water companies being private. I really don't. I really don't support it in the slightest. I think it's one of the dumbest things you could ever push. But this window of acceptable... the thing is, if I said to you that the government have changed the rules over what is an acceptable amount of poop in water, what is the first thing you think?
Why is any amount of poop acceptable?
Exactly. But then somebody, me, has to go, but then that means there was some in there to begin with, and I've been drinking that for years, which would indicate that there is an acceptable level, which means that there had to have already been an acceptable level in place in the first place, which I never knew. I genuinely didn't know that. And I find that really interesting. But then you have untreated, for example, untreated sewage going about in the Lake District, for example. But that was caused by a fault. You have dry spills in by Thames, Wessex, and Southern Water in 2022, which that was 388 potential dry spills anyway. And these dry spills are not great either. Dry spilling is banned, by the way, because it's not okay in the slightest. Dry spills, though, only occur when untreated wastewater spills straight out into rivers and seas when there is no rain. So it's a massive problem with the overflow pipe, essentially. But that happens when those sodding blockages happen. Yeah?
Right.
That's what happens. And there is a version that is legal because water companies are permitted to spill untreated wastewater under certain conditions. That is where you have heavy rainfall, because the companies cannot keep up with that water because it all goes under a what's called a CSO, which is what's a CSO again? It's an acronym for something useful, and I've already forgotten it. That's useful. Nope, I've forgotten. It was something about combined something. I don't know. It's where all the water types go into one system, and I found that quite useful. I was asked about this on Twitch earlier by Orla because she's obsessing about poop at the moment, and I thought we'll give it 5 minutes of our time to talk about poo because Orla's really all about it.
I can tell.
Yeah, and while I found it fascinating, truly because it's all privately owned, I'm genuinely intrigued. Just how much money the government have to continually pay into a private system while we don't own any of it, knowing that most of what we give will not actually go to what it needs to go to. Instead, it will go to those that simply benefit from it. And you say you're not Orla, but come on, I had to tell you to stop. Because you were going to. Anyway, what else has been going on this week? I'll move on because I can't be asked to talk about poop anymore. And you're not annoying. You talk a lot, but so does everyone. Let's go with this. I'm scrolling through our server actually because there's some rather interesting stuff in here. Switzerland banned the burqa on its streets by referendum. What do you think? Cool.
Curious.
We'll just move
why
on.
though?
Yeah, I don't know why either. I just thought I'd insert it and see what you thought. Okay, I'll do one. We'll do one UK one. This one's interesting because I live in the southeastern district that is represented by the MP Natalie Elphick. She is the I don't know if it's ex-wife still or wife. I think it's ex of Charlie Elphick. Now, in 2017 have made it quite clear I did vote for him because when my mum died, he stopped us being evicted. Because my mum was on the lease, the tenancy, and my sister was not. He actually stepped in and bought us 6 months. My sister needed that 6 months. First of all, we were grieving, but he also, but that 6 months gave her time to prove that she was, she lived here long enough to have the property. When he got done for a number of naughty Tory sex crimes, went to prison, she took his place and has been an MP ever since. And last week, she decided to cross the Commons and join Labour. Now she is a Conservative, straight up, and this has led to a number of accusations that Labour are becoming a Conservative party because people are now playing a game in the Commons of wondering what the next who the next defector will be. Now, for me, this isn't going to work because this area where I live is very conservative. It really is. But I'll just check how it went in the council elections, actually, because I'm intrigued. No, that's the commissioner. Not showing me that. You're not going to show me, are you? Oh, you suck. Love it. I get the Dover District Council stuff, and I don't get the results I'm looking for. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, no, this place votes generally more conservative, and I don't. She's not. I don't believe because she's now in Labour. I don't believe she'll be staying in this district because Labour are pushing, and I'm getting YouTube ads on this guy on something web. I think is running for this place as Labour, so I think she's having to push for a different place. And I'm intrigued because it means right now we do have an MP, but we have one that's essentially in some sort of limbo, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of stuck. Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of sucks.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah. I'm trying to find out what Kent Council election results map. That might help. Electoral divisions. Let's go with that. I want to see. Here we are. That's a division from 2021. You're a piece of shit. That's not what I wanted.
Oh.
I just wanted election results, and I'm getting Dover District Council, and it's not giving me the fucking answers I want. Oh, you suck ass.
That was very extra British.
It's beyond extra British at this point. It's embarrassing. I just want the result from the council elections. But apparently I'm not allowed them. All right.
Nope, not allowed.
Okay, well, I'll do UK council election results. That'll help. This will work. Yeah, totally. Yeah, now show me a map.
I just see the C is conservative. Interesting. Absolutely, the C is conservative.
Okay, so you've shown all the results, but apparently my area didn't have elections or something. What the fuck is this? You guys aren't important enough. Apparently not. Apparently my area didn't have council elections, even though we did. I saw it happen. There were freaking. There were what are they called? The places you go to vote. Those places.
Polling stations.
Yeah, polling stations. They had those all over my town, so I know it happened. This is embarrassing. All right, never mind. I can't find it.
You know, some would argue that the inability to find information about your election would be tantamount to election interference.
Honest to King God, I think it is. Oh, the Guardian might have something. You say you have the full results. Okay. Okay. How is that the full results? It's like councils of interest. This is not interesting. Just show me all council. Here we go. Right. A, B. Though I'm still on it. Hang on, wait. You stopped at B? Okay, I'll do it this way. Hang on. I might have this. No, council not up for election. Oh, mine wasn't up for election. Mine is conservative, though, just for the sake of it. So I can't imagine. While they are split on Natalie Elphick on her defecting.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see it changing in this area as a NPC. The one problem that's happening now is that people are still voting in a very linear two-party thing. And I know there's been a big shift for Lib Dems, but that has to translate to MPs as well. You have to be very careful, because if you vote for mostly two different parties that are left-leaning, do expect a rather large coalition or just one big left-leaning government. You have to be very careful on that as well, especially if you have defectors from the Conservatives who are still Conservatives. Yeah? Because it's not going to make it any better for you guys who are voting Labour, for example, because it's not going to change the fact that you've got Conservative MPs in their ranks who will, at the first opportunity when they don't get what they want, they will leave. I do fully expect the Conservatives to lose at some time this year, but I can't imagine it would be a great idea to have the Conservatives relegated to a third party just yet, because it always has to be something more right-leaning in politics. Otherwise, you end up with, or run the risk of you run the risk of something that doesn't have opposition.
Sure.
And
that makes sense.
I would rather there be opposition than a Labour government contesting left-leaning values with a Lib Dem opposition.
What even is the Labour platform right now? Except for it's not the people who were just in power.
Their position right now is, you Conservatives are all just wrong.
Good.
Your party's in shambles. It's time to move out. Okay, what are your positions? How are you going to fix it?
We don't have any.
They don't announce it yet.
We're just not that guy.
They're not going to announce it yet. That's the problem, and I find it.
See that guy over there?
Yeah.
We don't like him because he's blue.
Oh well, we can't have that. Or red in this case. Yeah, that too. Yeah. Fuck it. All right. Well, we've reached the end, I'm afraid, because you've got to go and pick up the wife, I believe.
Yes.
Very well. Are we here next week, Trubs?
I believe so.
Sweet.
Yes.
We'll be back in a week then, guys. I'd like you to all think when you leave about poop, and if you have any questions, never hesitate to ask Orla. Say good night, Trubs.
Good night, Trups.
Wahahaha. Good night, Trubs.